A seismic shift is underway in global technology, one that is reshaping the very foundations of how the world's biggest companies operate and interact. The digital age is entering a new phase, where the rules are being rewritten and the players are forced to adapt or risk being left behind. At the very center of this transformation stands Apple, a company whose influence stretches across continents and whose products have become daily essentials for billions. For years, Apple's deep partnership with China fueled its meteoric rise, allowing it to scale production, tap into skilled labor, and reach new markets at an unprecedented pace. But now, that once stable relationship faces its greatest test yet, as political tensions and economic rivalries threaten to unravel decades of cooperation. Caught in the crossfire between the competing demands of Washington and Beijing, Apple finds itself navigating a complex web of regulations, tariffs, and shifting alliances. In response, Apple's recent moves to diversify its supply chain and rethink its global strategy could not only redefine its own future, but also send shockwaves through the entire global economy. The stakes go far beyond profits or quarterly earnings. This is about the collision of corporate ambition with the raw power of superpower politics, where every decision could tip the balance. Apple's pivot away from its traditional model signals the end of an era of unfettered globalization, ushering in a new world order defined by national interests, strategic decoupling, and a race for technological supremacy. We'll explore how Apple's China dilemma has become a powerful symbol of a much larger struggle, one that touches every corner of the globe, and what it means for the future of innovation, trade, and international relations. The story of Apple's choice is a critical chapter in the 21st century, a tale of risk, reinvention, and resilience, and its final pages are still being written, with the outcome set to shape the world for years to come. Apple's rise was built on a calculated bet: China's vast labor force and manufacturing prowess. Foxconn's mega-factories in cities like Shenzhen turned Apple into a global powerhouse, but also created deep dependency. China's near monopoly on rare earth minerals gave Beijing leverage, making Apple's supply chain both a strength and a vulnerability. As US-China tensions escalated, Apple's reliance on China became a strategic risk. The trade war and new tariffs forced Apple to confront the dangers of its entanglement. The very supply chain that built Apple's empire now threatened its future, setting the stage for a dramatic pivot. Apple's $500 million deal with MP Materials marks a seismic shift in its supply chain. By sourcing rare earth magnets from Texas, Apple is building resilience and reducing its dependence on China. The deal includes a new recycling plant in California, creating a closed-loop supply chain and advancing sustainability. This move is a direct response to geopolitical risks and pandemic-era supply chain shocks. Apple's investment is both a business necessity and a powerful statement. The company is rebalancing its global footprint. Hundreds of high-skilled jobs will be created in the US, signaling a new era for American tech manufacturing. Apple is aligning its strategy with national interests, reshaping the industry and sending shockwaves worldwide. Apple's pivot can't be understood without the America First policies of the Trump era. Trump's push to reshore manufacturing and secure critical minerals put Apple under intense pressure. Tariffs and trade threats forced Apple to rethink its global strategy and invest in US supply chains. Tim Cook navigated this landscape, securing tariff exemptions but recognizing the need for change. The $500 million MP Materials deal is the culmination of years of political and economic pressure. Apple's move satisfies Washington's demands and hedges against future disruptions from China. The Trump era's legacy is clear. Even the world's most powerful tech company must now prioritize national interests. Apple's shift is more than just a business decision. It's a global chess move that's sending ripples through the world economy. The company's decision to rethink its supply chain is being watched closely by governments, investors, and competitors alike. For the United States, this is an immediate win. The country stands to gain thousands of new jobs, a boost in economic security, and renewed industrial momentum as advanced manufacturing returns to American soil. Communities that once lost factories may see a revival, and the government can tout this as a victory for national resilience. But for China, the symbolic loss is enormous. Apple's move signals to the world that even the biggest players are looking elsewhere. If Apple is diversifying, it's likely that other tech giants and manufacturers will soon follow, raising questions about China's long-term dominance. This shift threatens China's role as the world's factory, potentially leading to job losses and economic uncertainty in regions that have thrived on global exports. Meanwhile, countries like Vietnam, India, and Mexico are racing to attract new investment. They're building infrastructure, offering incentives, and positioning themselves as the next big manufacturing hubs. As companies seek alternatives to China, these nations are eager to seize the opportunity, hoping to transform their economies and create millions of new jobs. This China Plus One strategy is redrawing global supply chains, forcing companies to rethink logistics, partnerships, and risk management on a massive scale. The result? New winners are emerging, and the competition for investment is fiercer than ever. Countries are vying for a piece of the global manufacturing pie, and the stakes are high. But this transition isn't without pain. The process brings instability. Factories may close, workers may be displaced, and entire industries could be upended. Fragmented supply chains could mean higher costs for companies and consumers alike, as well as delays and uncertainty in getting products to market. The world economy could become more volatile, with unpredictable swings in prices, supply, and demand. The era of stable, cheap global manufacturing is ending, giving way to a new reality where flexibility and resilience are prized over efficiency alone. Now, companies and countries alike are scrambling for strategic advantage, making bold moves to secure their place in the new order. The ultimate winners and losers in this global shakeup are still unknown. The world is watching, waiting to see who will adapt and who will be left behind. Apple's move is just the opening gambit in a much larger game, one that will shape the future of technology, trade, and geopolitics for years to come. We are entering a new era of great power competition, where every decision sends shockwaves across the globe. Apple's pivot signals a shift from hyper-efficient global supply chains to resilience and redundancy. For consumers, this could mean higher prices as companies move production to costlier or less efficient locations. The days of ever cheaper electronics may be over, replaced by products that reflect the geopolitical cost of security. China faces the risk of losing foreign investment and jobs, challenging its economic ambitions and social stability. In response, China will likely double down on self-sufficiency and domestic innovation. Meanwhile, the US and other countries are racing to capture new supply chain opportunities, investing in infrastructure and technology. The global economy isn't shrinking. It's reconfiguring into a more complex, competitive landscape. Apple's decision is a catalyst for this transformation. Experts see Apple's $500 million deal as a strategic necessity, not just a PR move. Dr. Evelyn Reed calls it corporate statecraft, balancing political demands with business sense. Wall Street is cautiously optimistic. Diversifying supply chains adds costs, but reduces geopolitical risk. Some analysts argue this is a hedge, not a full break from China. Apple's operations there remain vast and essential. Professor Li Wei notes, this is a recalibration, not a divorce. The consensus tech companies are now national champions, navigating a new era of techno-nationalism. The age of the apolitical global corporation is over. Apple's choices will help shape the global balance of power for decades to come. Apple's strategy shift has real consequences for ordinary people. In China, millions who found opportunity in Apple's supply chain now face uncertainty as jobs move elsewhere. In the US, new high-skilled jobs offer hope for communities hit by industrial decline, but questions remain about scale and access. Consumers may soon pay more for gadgets, trading cost for security and values. The choices made in boardrooms and capitals ripple through lives worldwide, from factory workers to families shopping for phones. The human impact of this tech rivalry is profound and growing. Apple's China dilemma is a defining story of our era, one that goes far beyond the world of smartphones and gadgets. It's a story about how the world's most valuable company is caught in the crosshairs of a rapidly changing global landscape, where every decision can have ripple effects across continents and industries. We're witnessing a shift from decades of globalization, where borders seem to blur, to a new age of great power rivalry, with the US and China at the center of a technological tug-of-war. Apple's strategic pivot signals the end of the old rules. The world is fragmenting into competing tech blocks, each with its own standards, supply chains, and ambitions. The seamless flow of innovation is now being replaced by barriers, restrictions, and fierce competition. For the United States, this moment is seen as a rare opportunity to rebuild its manufacturing base, secure its technological leadership, and protect its economic interests. For China, it's a call to accelerate homegrown innovation, reduce dependence on foreign technology, and assert itself as a global tech powerhouse. For countries and companies around the world, it's a scramble to adapt to new realities, navigating shifting alliances, supply chain disruptions, and the uncertainty of a divided digital future. Multinational corporations now find themselves on the front lines of this new tech Cold War, forced to make tough choices that could define their futures. The decisions made in boardrooms and government offices today are shaping the global order of tomorrow, influencing everything from trade to security to the very devices we use every day. The story of Apple, how it navigates supply chains, government pressures, and consumer expectations, will be studied for years as a landmark case of corporate strategy in a fractured, unpredictable world. The devices in our pockets are no longer just tools for communication or entertainment. They've become artifacts of a global struggle, symbols of the choices and challenges facing our interconnected world. The future isn't set in stone. It will be shaped by the decisions we make, the conversations we have, and the values we choose to uphold in this era of uncertainty. Stay informed, join the conversation, and help define the next chapter of this unfolding story, because the choices we make today will echo for generations to come.